what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy. Do a little trust tree here, guys. No judgment.
Okay.
Try to allay each other's fears. When it comes to Sunday, LSU, FSU, what worries you most? For me, it's obvious. I've been talking about it.
Is it?
Yes.
All right.
It is that FSU offense, the weapons matching up against the secondary, and them starting to find a rhythm.
Mm-hmm. And
can you disrupt that rhythm?
Yeah.
Because we don't know really who's coming off the edge or how good LSU is going to be coming off the edge. There's going to be no Mason Smith helping the edge with that interior pressure.
Right.
And the DBs are the biggest question mark on the team, whereas Florida State's receivers are one of the strengths of their team. So that remains my biggest fear.
All right, I'll go away from that because that's a concern.
But what should we do? I mean, you got to make me feel better, though.
I have to be your therapist?
Yeah, I think we do like a sunshine pumping, like, okay, but here, let me tell you why you shouldn't be scared.
Okay. If you look at what LSU can do as far as the schematics of it, and you can pay attention to the receivers that you're worried about a little bit. I know the one that you've talked about the most is Johnny Wilson, and you can shade your coverage to him, and you try to use your best matchups to have, hey, you got to be one-on-one, Zay Alexander, whoever it's got to be on the other side of it. You could shade coverage over there. You can be creative with Harold Perkins, with Omar Speights. They're going to pay so much attention to Harold Perkins. And let's not forget, Omar Speights can also get after the quarterback on a blitz if you need him to. And so through the schematics of the defense, you can come up with a game plan that confuses them just by saying, hey, everybody here, number four, and everybody, and they send all their protection to who? 4 down and number 4, Harold Perkins. Well, then you drop him into coverage. He's certainly athletic. And that's the thing. Most times when you have a guy like that who you're always going to point to, and we used to do it with whoever, like Green Bay would walk Clay Matthews out. Well, 52, he's going to be Mike, or Julius Peppers, like whoever it was, like we were always going to. Well, Harold Perkins has the rush ability, but he's also one of the fastest people in the field. Mm-hmm. So he can do whatever you need him to do in coverage, and that's unique to him, to his skill set, because a lot of times you'll slide your coverage to a bigger body, a guy that you don't ever want ending up on a running back. But if you slide it to him and he drops, here comes Omar Speights, or here comes whoever, Major Burns off the edge as well. Well, you have Harold Perkins who can cover almost anybody on the field for Florida State. They're not going to be a better athlete than he is. And so if you get creative in that way and almost make them, number 4 right in the middle of the defense, hey, you got to declare me the Mike. And so for those listening out there, most of you know, but if you don't, that means the offensive line is going to be responsible for the 4 down linemen and Harold Perkins. Now, if Harold Perkins doesn't come, then the offensive line usually helps and chips and, have a double team situation. But I mean, you can put him in the A-gap tee, drop him into coverage after that, and then once you do that, all hell breaks loose. It's, for me, if you're not getting home just by straight-up rush, then it falls on you to be creative with a top 5 player, I think, in all of college football, to be not a decoy, but make sure that they point to him.
And I think Manhouse is capable of doing that. It's one of my great things that I look for. It's one of my great kind of things that I'm like, okay, this is how you overcome that relative weakness. Corlin Jacob says the frontline DB should find Chestnut was all ACC, and we're playing an ACC team. That's true. Actually, Juice Chestnut, I think, shut down Johnny Wilson last time he played him, right?
We looked at it, and Wilson had a touchdown in that game, but he had like 3 catches for 26 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, he had a short touchdown, but it wasn't really a big game for him.
Okay. So we spent so long explaining that one away. Why don't we go?
That's my fault.
No, that's good. That was a good explanation. Just wanted you to hear it. Like, I feel way more confident than I did 5 minutes ago. All right, Trust Tree. Who's up next?
I'll go. One of my biggest worries is kind of what I actually just tried to fix your worry with a little bit. If you look at the game plan, you're like, man, I just don't know if we have the corners, and they've got these receivers, and then you start to do too much in coverage, and not enough to stop the run game. And Benson, now you shut him down last year. He did not have a good game against you. He had a good season, but against you, he was not great.
No.
But you paid too much attention to what they can do through the air. And then you start to try to get extra help from extra bodies. And maybe you put a DB on the field, you take a linebacker off, and then they make enough plays through the air. But also Trey Benson goes off a little bit, controls the clock, and starts – because last year – They had a period where they were hitting those 8-yarders every time they ran the ball. Then you adjusted to it, and it went away. But you can't pay so much attention to what they can do through the air and the receivers and where you think might be your weakness through the DBs, and you play a little soft, and you allow them to run the football, control the clock, keep the ball away from your biggest strength, which is your offense.
Yeah, look, I think that, if I was going to allay those fears, it was that, like, nobody knows that better than Matt House, right? Like, nothing makes a quarterback more comfortable than a running game that is hitting. So goal number one has to be, again, to not make the running game easy, to not let Travis Benson rip off 7-8 yards run like he did consistently. Not against LSU, but again, consistently last year for the most part. And to make Jordan Travis beat you. Now, what we figured out last year is Jordan Travis is capable of beating you when you make him, but that's still the best path. What you don't want is the running game to hit like Jake is talking about. And then you're just playing catch up on both sides. They're not one-dimensional, and then they can really, really take off. So yeah, I'm not overly concerned about that because and when it comes to like okay, I don't know about pass rush, but I know I love Savion Jones setting the edge in terms of run defense, right? I know I love Omar Spates coming downhill, plugging the gaps. I love Mekhi Wingo in that role. So like I feel pretty good about that. Nookie says, what am I most nervous about? Auburn version Jaden Daniels. And then going on to say, like, Texas A&M, Arkansas, first half FSU. Just like basically saying, like, when, you had, like, great Heisman caliber Jaden Daniels, you had bad Jaden Daniels last year.
That was going to be mine when we got to me. Look, we've heard that he's improved his downfield passing. It is one of those things we still have to see. I understand this is a different coaching staff. At times at practice, he's looked really good at it. At times it's been a little hit or miss. And like they mentioned, like there was a lot of good against Power 5 opponents last year. But there was a fair share of bad mixed in as well. I mean, I have confidence in Jaden Daniels. But again, it's one of those things where it's like we really do have to see it come together.
Yeah, look, I think you saw massive improvement last year. I think he entered the offseason as the guy. He has a more stable and a better environment in terms of the quality of the coaching as well than he's ever had before. More time on task with the receivers, a better offensive line. There's a million reasons why he should be able to accomplish a goal. And it's not like we talked about yesterday. It's not just launching it downfield. They need to get the ball to playmakers in space. Take advantage of this wide receiver group. Mario, what are you worried about?
My biggest concern is Jordan Travis kind of improvising, getting out the pocket after LSU plays good defense. I think the last 3 season openers, LSU hasn't really tackled well. Like, think back to the Mississippi State game, 2020. Yep. They broke a bunch of tackles. 2021, Marvin Gaye and Charbonnet ran all over them. And then last year, they had a lot of sacks on Jordan Travis that he got out of. So they need to wrap him up in particular, but they just need to tackle better than they have in the last few season openers.
And that's probably, again, Hercules, right? Best QB spy in the nation. If you had to go that route?
He did it to Bryce Young when nobody else could do it to Bryce Young. Again, the game plan on defense is going to be so crucial in this one, because what do you do? Like, what's your point of emphasis? What do you do with Perkins and Spates in the middle of the defense, and how that all comes together is going to be as important as any storyline, because you have the ability, because you have a guy that can do a lot of different things, but you have to make sure that he can do whatever the one thing is that you're like, we got to stop really, really well and not have too much in the game plan.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.